Sri Damodara-ashtakam, found in the Padma Purana of Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas, spoken by Satyavrata Muni in a conversation with Narada Muni and Shaunaka Rishi. In the month of Kartik, one should worship Lord Damodar and daily recite the prayer known as Damodara-ashtakam, which has been spoken by the sage Satyavrata and which attracts Lord Damodara. Lord Damodar is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this pastime occurs in Gokula, when Krishna is still young, in between baby and childhood. Namami Shwarang Sachid Ananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. Namami Shwaram Sachid Ananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. Yashoda Biyo Lukalad Dhavamanam Padam Rishtam Atyanta Todrutya Gopya. Yashoda Biyo Lukalad Dhavamanam Padam Rishtam Atyanta Todrutya Gopya. To the Supreme Lord, whose form embodies eternity, knowledge, and bliss, whose earrings swing to and fro, shining beautifully in Gokula, who quickly ran from the grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, and who was caught from behind by her because she ran faster than he. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. So this song, Ashtak, 8 verses, is presented very scientifically. The first thing is the author wants us to understand that this Damodar, Krishna, is the Supreme Lord. As it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, Matak Parataram Nanyat. There may be many lords, there may be many gods, but Krishna is the Supreme. Asam Aurdva. No one is equal to and no one is greater than Damodar, Krishna. Then, just to help us understand, this Damodar Krishna has a spiritual or transcendental body. That body is made of eternal nature, full of knowledge and ever-increasing bliss. Our bodies are just the opposite. The bodies we have are temporary, they're full of ignorance, and they're certainly not very blissful. We have to tolerate so many distresses of this body. Then the author gives us a picture to meditate on. And later in this song, the author will pray to Damodar Krishna that this scene that he is seeing in his heart of hearts, he wants to always remember this scene. So what is the scene? Krishna is wearing earrings and they are swinging back and forth. And Krishna, as we learn in the Bhagavad Gita, Brahmano hi pratishtaham. His form is ever shining, glowing. And at this time, he is residing in Gokul. Later, Krishna will be transferred to Vrindavan. But for now, in these early childhood pastimes, he's in Gokula. But the next scene, this Krishna is running from his mother. And he's running in fear. But in the Vedas, there are many descriptions that fear personified is afraid of Krishna. But this same Krishna is afraid of his mother. How is this possible? This is possible on the spiritual platform. It is possible in Vrindavan, in the spiritual world, on the platform of Yoga Maya. Here in this material world, it is called Devi Dham, or the realm of Mahamaya, where everyone is in illusion of their real identity. But Krishna's pastimes, even when they're performed in this material realm, Krishna's pastimes are performed in Yoga Maya, spiritual potency, transcendental. Now, in the description in the Bhagavatam of this same pastime, when Krishna was running from his mother, it took some time for her to catch up. But finally, Krishna was caught from behind. So the author is offering his obeisances to this Damodar Krishna. Rudantang mohur netra yugmam rijantam karamboja yugmena satanka netram. Rudantang mohur netra yugmam rijantam karamboja yugmena satanka netram. Muhuswasa kampa trirekanka kanta stitagraivang damodarang bhakti badham. Muhuswasa kampa trirekanka kanta stitagraivang damodarang bhakti badham. So in this next scene, Krishna is still very much afraid because Yashoda has been a stick in her hand. Krishna had performed mischief. He had been drinking the milk of his mother. But then the pot of milk on the oven boiled over. So Yashoda had to stop feeding Krishna the milk and take care of the milk that was on the stove. Krishna became very disturbed and unhappy because he was not yet finished feeding. So with false tears in his eyes, he took a stone. Because at this time, Mother Yashoda was churning butter. This scene, this incident, took place 5,000 years ago on Diwali Day. And previous to this incident, Krishna and his brother Balaram had been going to the neighbors' houses, causing great disturbance. They were stealing butter and yogurt from the neighbors. They were pinching the small babies, making them cry. Sometimes they were passing stool and urine in the houses of the neighbors. The neighbors lodged complaints to Mother Yashoda. So Yashoda on this day was thinking, My child is so restless. The reason he must be going to the neighbors and stealing their butter and yogurt, it must be because he is not satisfied with what he is getting at home. So on this day, Yashoda was personally churning the butter. And since Yashoda is the queen, her husband Nanda is the king of the cowherd community, Yashoda had special cows. And these cows were so special, they were fed very, very select types of grasses. And the cow has a mystic potency. The cow's mystic potency is that it can eat grass and take it and change it into milk. And since these grasses that these cows were feeding on, it gave that milk a very special flavor. So that was the milk Yashoda was turning into butter when Krishna stopped her because he wanted his mother to feed him. So he took a stone and he broke the butter pot. And then he stepped in the butter. And then he ran away. And when he ran away, he climbed up top a wooden grinding mortar that was used for spices. And in the ceiling was a container of butter and yogurt. And Krishna was liberally giving the butter and yogurt to the monkeys. Because in this area, there are many, many monkeys. Till this day, many, many monkeys in this Vrindavan area. And Krishna knew that he was being mischievous, so he was looking this way, that way, because he was expecting his mother at any moment. And when Yashoda came back after taking care of the overflowing milk on the stove, she saw the broken pot. And she understood, my son is very intelligent. After creating a disturbance, he has fled the scene of the crime. But Mother Yashoda could follow where Krishna had gone because the bottom of Krishna's feet have very distinct markings. That is how we can tell who is God. If somebody claims to be God, they have to have these special markings of God on their feet. So Krishna could trace out the butter-smeared footprints. And as she turned the corner, Krishna saw his mother. And he jumped down from the wooden grinding mortar and ran. And after it took a while, Yashoda captured him. But she had the stick in her hand. So Krishna was shaking. He was afraid of his mother, even though he is afraid, fear personified is afraid of him. So he was crying. And he was rubbing his eyes with his two hands. And Krishna wears kajal. And so that kajal was smeared. And not only was he afraid, he was breathing very quickly. And Krishna wears a pearl necklace. And so he's breathing heavily, he's shaking, and so that pearl necklace is also moving. And here the author tells us that on Krishna's neck there are 3 lines. Anyone who has looked carefully at a bona fide conch shell, there are lines. So Krishna on his neck also has 3 lines like you would see in a conch shell. But in this verse, the most important word, bhakti badham. Can everybody say? Bhakti badham means that Krishna can only be bound by love, not by ropes. When Yashoda caught Krishna and he was shaking and crying, Yashoda realized that using the stick would be too much punishment. So she threw the stick away. But she was thinking, this child is so restless. I must do something. So she decided that she would tie him up with ropes, and she would tie him to that wooden grinding mortar that he was standing on. So Yashoda called the servants, bring me some rope. And she tied Krishna. But when it came to tie the final knot, it was 2 fingers too short. Then she called, bring me more rope. And more rope was added. But when she made the final knot, 2 fingers too short. More rope was added, more rope was added. No matter how much rope they brought from the house, when that final knot was tied, was still 2 fingers too short. By this time, many of the neighboring ladies had come. They were smiling because they could see there was something going on here. Because even the extra rope, if you calculate the 2 fingers necessary for each rope, that itself should have been enough to tie up Krishna. So obviously Krishna was performing a mystic pastime. And after so much labor, Yashoda, she had flowers in her hair. They came down, and she became completely exhausted trying to tie up Krishna. And when Krishna saw that she had given up, he smiled and now allowed himself to be tied. So Krishna was teaching not just Yashoda, everyone. Later on, in another verse in this song, Ananta, Krishna is unlimited. How can you tie up the unlimited? It's not possible. So Krishna was showing everyone, I may be a little child, but I'm still God. I'm still unlimited. And you cannot tie me with ropes. But the song says, Bhakti Badham. You can tie him with the ropes of love. Now for me, this concept is very, very significant. This is one of the main reasons why I follow this philosophy. God is not impressed with your knowledge, with your wealth, with your expertise. These things do not impress God. The only thing that can tie, bind, attract the attention of Krishna is your love. This concept is one of the main reasons why I follow this philosophy. So, Krishna, another concept. Sometimes for ropes, the word guna is used in Sanskrit. The word guna has different meanings. So the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are like ropes. This is how we are tied up by the material energy. We're tied up. Even the mode of goodness is binding. This is mentioned clearly in Bhagavad Gita. Even the mode of goodness is binding. Clearly this is stated in Bhagavad Gita, also in Srimad Bhagavatam. What to speak of passion and ignorance? So, you cannot tie up Krishna even if you're in the mode of goodness. Say you are Pakka Brahman in the mode of goodness. Sorry, Krishna is not going to be bound up by you. You're not going to capture him. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma says that the yogis, the jnanis, the mystics, they try to capture Krishna, but he always remains far away. You cannot capture Krishna if you're in the modes of passion and ignorance. You have to come to this platform of Yashoda. What is Yashoda's platform? Spontaneous love, not just love. Spontaneous love. Spontaneous, just like the millionaire. He has spontaneous love for money. Ravana had spontaneous love for woman. But this spontaneous love for God, not a cheap thing. Not cheap. Very rarely achieved. But you can achieve it. The Bhakti scriptures are promoting this concept. Yes, you should try to come to this platform of spontaneous love. Bhakti, then you can tie up Krishna by your love. Spontaneous love. Spontaneous love means as soon as you see Krishna, immediately you're attracted. As soon as you hear the kirtan, you're attracted. As soon as you hear one of the pastimes, you're attracted. This Damodar pastime, this whole month, it started on Tuesday. For the whole month, I will be studying this pastime day after day after day. And it does not become old. I have been studying this pastime every year since 1973. I'm reading the same pastime for the past over 40 years. And still, it is fresh. Like a hot chapati off the stove. This is another reason why I stick with this philosophy. Because it is not mundane. It's alive. All week, every day this week, this past week, I spent several hours studying. I studied this song, a commentary on this song by Sanatan Goswami. I read the Bhagavatam. I read my spiritual master's purports. And I will do that. Of course, at some point, as we get closer to Govardhan, I'll have to take a break and get into Govardhan Leela. This month is the best month, this month of Kartik. This month, you should be increasing, doubling, tripling as much bhakti, hearing and chanting, worshiping, donating. The managers like that, huh? This is the month to increase. Why? Because you get a bigger return on your investment. Devotional activities performed in this month yield hundreds and hundreds of times more benefit than other times of the year. So this is the month. Chant, read, worship, pray, give charity. It's only for your benefit. So it says here, Krishna is agreed to be tied up not by ropes, but by his mother's pure love. Iti dwikswa lila pirananda kunde swagoshang nimajantam akyapayantam. Tadiyeshita geshu bhaktarjitatvang punak prematastang shatavriti vande. These super excellent childhood pastimes drown the residents of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. In this realm, Vrindavan Gokula, in order to be present at this time for Krishna's pastimes, you must have done great penances and austerities and devotional activities for many lifetimes. Because Krishna, in his original form, appears on earth only once in a day of Brahma. And it just recently occurred 5,000 years ago. It was just 5,000 years ago. So it's not going to be for a long time before this pastime will again take place on this planet. This pastime is going on right now in some other universe because Krishna's pastimes are ever present in this material world. But for here on this planet, it won't be for many thousands of years because only once in a day of Brahma. So these residents, they have earned this privilege to participate in this pastimes. Some of the participants are eternal associates, but some are being promoted, and this is their first time partaking in Krishna's pastimes. In other words, when you achieve complete liberation, before you actually go to the kingdom of God, you take birth in a universe where these pastimes are taking place. And you are introduced to Krishna and his pastimes on that way. So by these pastimes, Krishna is declaring, I am only conquered by my pure loving devotees. One of Krishna's names is Ajita. Can you all say please? Ajita means unconquerable. If you study the Krishna Leela, 90 chapters in the Srimad Bhagavatam canto. If you study, like I have studied year after year, you will see that he was undefeated. All the demons who tried, Krishna came out victorious. Even there were some incidents with demigods, such as Indra, Govardhan. Indra thought wrongly about Krishna, but he came to his senses. Lord Brahma tried to play a trick on Krishna. He learned his lesson. The only time that Krishna was defeated was the night of the Rasa dance. He was defeated by the gopis. Because when Krishna disappeared from the Rasa dance, the gopis did not leave. They remained. And they were praying to Krishna, please come back to us. And Krishna kept himself invisible, but was watching. And when he saw that even though he had left them, and they remained fixed, then Krishna came back. And when he came back, he said, I cannot repay you for your service. So this is interesting. Because in Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna say? Ye yatang mang prapadyante tangs tataiva bhajamyaham. As you surrender, I surrender. I reciprocate. But in this night of the Rasa dance, Krishna tells the gopis, I'm bankrupt. I cannot repay you for your spotless service. So for the gopis, there's no Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 verse 11. They have proven this verse is true for everybody else, but not for the gopis. Because like Mother Yashoda is a gopi. So the gopis, they are also on this platform of spontaneous, pure attraction and love. So this pastime is also illustrating that those who are absorbed in knowledge, majesty, and opulence, nope, these things are not going to attract Krishna. And the author says, I offer my obeisances to this Damodar Krishna hundreds and hundreds of times. So every time we come into the temple and we offer our obeisances, this is very, very good. We benefit. Every time we benefit. Just like he's going to close the curtains, we will once again offer our respects. Radharaman Bhagavan ki Vadang Deva Moksham Namokshavadhing Va Nachanyang Rinehang Vareshada Piha. Idang Deva Purnapa Gopala Balang Sadame Manas Yavirastam Kim Anyay. O Lord, though you can award all kinds of benedictions, I pray to you neither for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor for the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor for any other boon. So this is significant. People worship God, people worship demigods. Some people want material benedictions, and there are some people, they want liberation Some people want to go to the kingdom of God, but the author of this song doesn't want anything. This is very significant. What does he say? I simply wish that this form of yours as Bala Gopala, can you all say, in Vrindavan, may ever be manifest in my heart. What exalted consciousness this person has. It's very similar to Lord Chaitanya's fourth Shikshastakam prayers. Nadanang, Najanang, Nasundaring, Kavitang va Jagadisha Kamaye, Mama Janmani Janmanishware, Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahoituki Twai. When somebody is on this platform of spontaneous ecstatic love, they are not interested in anything but love of God. The author simply wants this form that he's seeing, Damodar Krishna, Bala Gopal, childhood Gopal. He wants that form in his heart, and he doesn't want it ever to go away. He says, I have no use for any other benediction. In the past, many times I have explained, if you tell Radharani, Radharani, we will give you billions of dollars, just give up Krishna. Will she agree? No. How could she? You could tempt Radharani with anything, but she will never give up Krishna. Impossible. So that is the mark of this spontaneous, pure devotee. Nothing, there's just no attraction for anything else other than for Krishna. And in this song, the author, he simply wants to always remember this form of Lord Damodar. Idang te mukam bhojam atyanta nilay vritang kuntalay snigdha raktaishcha gopya. Muhushumbitam bimba raktadarang me manasya virastam alang laksha labhai. O Lord, again and again Mother Yashoda kisses your lotus face. So different parts of Krishna are compared to the lotus. Lotus hands, lotus feet, lotus mouth, lotus face, and navel like a lotus. You will find these descriptions in the Bhagavatam. Now, it says here that Mother Yashoda kisses her child Krishna's face. This is natural. The mother, out of love, kisses the child. When Yashoda was feeding Krishna, when he stopped her from churning, and she was feeding him, she was looking at her child, smiling. Krishna is all attractive. And in the Bhagavatam, when Shukadeva Goswami explains this pastime to Maharaj Parikshit, at the end, Shukadeva gives his purport. And he says that this Mother Yashoda is so exalted. And he uses a word, the mukti. Not just mukti, the mukti. Special, unique liberation. And Shukadeva Goswami says that Yashoda's vimukti is greater than Lord Brahma, greater than Shambhu, greater than Lakshmi. Don't get mad at me. This is what Shukadeva Goswami says. It's right there, 10th canto, chapter 9, towards the end. He says that none of these personalities are so exalted. Shukadeva cannot commit an offense. That's impossible. But he's saying they cannot achieve what Yashoda has. Because nobody can become Yashoda. Just like next year, we will vote for the next president. Any one of us could become president if you have a couple of $1 billion. That's how it works. But you cannot become Lord Shiva. You can become Lord Brahma because that's a position. But you cannot become Durga Mata, you cannot become and you cannot become Yashoda. The position is fulfilled, no applications being accepted. So what does Yashoda have? She has that facility that she can feed Krishna and she can kiss his face as a baby. Special. Now the author gives us more detail. This is another thing why I like this philosophy. In other religions, they do not have as much specific information about God. They don't have it. Bhagavatam and other bhakti scriptures have great insight, specific, intricate details about God. Look at this. Soft black hair. That's why one of his names is Keshava. One of the meanings of Keshava, very fine, soft hair. And it's tinged red. And Krishna becomes more beautiful when he is kissed by Mother Yashoda. And Krishna's lips are reddish, and they, an analogy like the bimba fruit. Can you find that here? I don't know where you can find bimba fruit. But I was told you can still get in India bimba fruit. So the bimba fruit is red. Again, he repeats his request. The author again repeats his request. May this vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Why? Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me. Just like, say for instance, a man is dying on his bed. What use is there if you bring him a nice piece of chocolate cake? That's not what he needs. If you were to bring some sanjivani, something to rejuvenate, that would be good. So when you have this prema bhakti, spontaneous love of God, nothing in this material or spiritual world is of any use to you. You just want this vision. Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabodhuka Jalabdi Magnam. Kripadrishti vrishyati dinang batanu Grihanesha mamagyam edyak shidrishyaha. O Supreme Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Please repeat, O Damodar, O Ananta, O Vishnu. So Damodar means he was tied around the waist with the rope. Dama Udara, belly. Ananta, he's unlimited. You cannot measure him. You cannot calculate. He's unlimited. One time, Prabhupada was asked, somebody thought they had a trick question. Swamiji, can Krishna make a rock too heavy to lift? This is the kind of question the devil comes up with. So Prabhupada said, yes, he can make a rock too heavy to lift, but then in the next moment he expands and lifts it. That's Ananta. When Krishna sits down and tries to calculate his potencies, he discovers a new one. Because he's ever increasing. Ananta, no limit. Vishnu. Vishnu means he's all pervasive. He's in everyone's heart, even Donald Trump. I know it's hard to believe, but he's in that idiot's heart too. And he's in the atom, Andantarasta Paramanu Jayantarastam. He's in the atom. So what is Maya? Maya means, although Krishna is all pervasive, I don't want to see him. I want to forget him. That's called Maya. Like the ostrich. When danger comes, what does the ostrich do? Puts the head in the sand. That's the fool. I don't believe in God because I can't see him. But he's everywhere. That was another thing Prabhupada taught us. For the rascal, even you show him God, he'll not believe. And for a devotee, everything he sees or she sees reminds him of Krishna. Very simple. You know, from so many years, so many people, when Krishna was on the planet, so many people were seeing him, but they could not accept that he was God. Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya that very same question. Sanjaya, how come you accept Krishna as God and I don't? And even, this one is my favorite. When Krishna was captured by Duryodhana, what did Krishna do? He showed himself as Virat Rupa. And Krishna gave Dhritarashtra sight. And Dhritarashtra saw for the first time in his life. And still, he could not accept Krishna as God. Yes. Why? There's a reason why. If you're not a devotee, if you're not austere, even God comes before you, you won't recognize. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Yesha tu antakatam papam jananam punya karmanam. That's why even this silly argument that you get, I don't believe in God until he shows himself to me. Even if he did, you still wouldn't accept. That's why he doesn't come in Kali Yuga. Even if Krishna was to come right now to the United Nations, they would not accept him. You would, because you're pious. But the fools and rascals, and there's lots of them to go around, because this is the United States of fools and rascals. Just go watch some of the debates. You'll see what I'm talking about. So that's why Krishna doesn't come in Kali Yuga, because we're all fools and rascals. You want to see God? Here he is, Radha Raman. How many people in Placentia are coming to see Radha Raman, huh? Everybody? Yeah, anybody that's anybody. Right, very good. Krishna comes in his holy name. That's how Krishna comes in Kali Yuga, as his holy name, as this Hare Krishna movement, as this Radha Raman temple. So unfortunately, we don't have time to finish the song, because I have to set the example and finish on time. I have 2 minutes. Let's chant for 2 minutes, my best friend. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. May we all get the blessings of Lord Damodar. Lord Damodar ki. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.